1998.
Oh, it's fun to be a goblin. It's fun to be a goblin. 'Cause goblins wonderific in McDonald's land. The shakes are thick and creamy.
1-5-1-3-1-2-0-1. Today, whatever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may go, you are a part of atomic warfare. It involves you, personally, in laboratories and in the field, in little-known places and ways. Units of the defense establishment of the United States are learning to work with atomic weapons. Military units work continuously with the laboratories of the Atomic Energy Commission and their new weapon ideas, new ideas, and their new weapon ideas.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers ran an enormously expensive and secret weapons project for 4 years. Secret from Congress and even the Vice President himself, it was dubbed the Manhattan Project and was in response to rumors that Nazi Germany was pursuing some sort of elusive superweapon that could destroy entire cities. In the span of but 2 short years, an industrial complex rivaling the size of the automotive industry would be built with sites across the entire country. In Tennessee, the town of Oak Ridge was constructed to manufacture fuel for the bomb and would consume more than 1/10 of all the electricity generated by the entire country. At great expense, in order to end the fascist takeover of Europe, mankind would invent the means of its own destruction. Welcome to Lucid Trigger TV, and this is 5 little known facts about the atom bomb. Number 5. The Hiroshima bombing in 1945 created a firestorm that was 2 miles in diameter, and at its center was nearly 11,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is hotter than the surface of the sun, and more than enough to not only melt, but vaporize structural steel. However, this is comparatively weak by today's standards. The largest bomb ever detonated by the US was at the Castle Bravo test. It was about 1,000 times stronger than the one dropped on Hiroshima and would result in third-degree burns even if you were 20 miles from where it was dropped. Number 4. The first atom bomb was tested in the early morning of July 16, 1945 at the Trinity site 210 miles south of Los Alamos, New Mexico, on the barren plains of the Alamogordo bombing range. More than 160 soldiers were on standby near the test range in case something went wrong and they had to evacuate civilians from the surrounding region. Then Governor of New Mexico, John Dempsey, was warned that martial law may have to be declared, but given no explanation as to why. As the countdown began, the scientists who worked on the bomb remained uncertain as to whether the test would ignite the atmosphere, as mathematically there was a small chance it could happen. And if it did, it could create a chain reaction that could destroy the entire state, and possibly even the world. After the test was a success, the federal government issued a press release stating that what civilians in the vicinity may have witnessed was the accidental explosion at a pyrotechnics facility. Nothing to worry about. Number 3. The scientists at the Trinity test site worked out of a ranch house that had been acquired by the government. Initially built in 1913, the ranch house was vacated under protest by the McDonald family in 1942 when the U.S. Army took over the land as part of the Alamogordo bombing range. Believe it or not, the core of the very first nuclear bomb was assembled in the master bedroom after it had been turned into a clean room. The McDonald family hoped that the ranch would be returned after the war, but it wasn't, and in 1970 the Army announced that it would be kept permanently. Eventually, the United States Park Service would restore the home to the way it appeared in July 1945, designated as part of a National Historical Landmark, and begin to offer semi-annual tours. Number 2. The vast majority of the uranium used in the Little Boy and Fat Man nuclear bombs that were dropped on Japan in World War II came from a single mine in what is today the Democratic Republic of Congo. A Belgian company made use of debt slavery to mine the uranium, and then sold it to the United States Army at slightly more than $1 per pound. This continued from the early 1940s into the 1960s, when enough uranium mines had opened in the American Southwest to meet the United States' demand. At that point, the Belgians poured concrete down the mine shaft and closed off the pit. Number 1. Number 1. In 1986, an all-time high for the number of nukes was set to the tune of 70,300 active weapons. Due to partial disarmament treaties, that number has been reduced to about 14,000 total warheads, of which 3,700 are currently active. Since the inception of the first nuclear bomb, through the buildup of the Cold War, there have been over 2,000 nuclear tests conducted throughout the globe. Between 1955 and 1989, the average number of these tests per year was 55. That's 55 nuclear bombs detonated somewhere in the world every year for 34 years straight.
This is crazy.
I'm not joking, though. I'm not joking. I'm really not. I wouldn't even joke about something like that.
Ever wonder what would be worse? The hurricane of fire from the initial blast, the swathes of radiation poisoning the land, or the agonizing slow death of nuclear winter? Yeah, if not before, maybe now you have. Thanks for watching. This has been 5 little known facts of the atom bomb. And if you've liked what you've seen, don't forget to like and subscribe.